Welcome to Seven Little Piggies Part 2. This is a Drunken Piggy. We call him Drunken Piggy because we were using the Tipsy Piggy recipe, which calls for just enough alcohol to dissolve the piggy. Unfortunately, I poured way too much. I poured more like an ounce for two heaps of piggies, so that's just way too much, so that's what we call a Drunken Piggy. Now here we're showing you how I layer my cups. I start off with Decor 24 karat gold. I go in with the Dioxazine purple by Liquid Basics with a little bit of violet blue hue by Amsterdam. Sorry about that. Then I go in with Liquid Basics Titanium White, just so that whatever I pour at the end is not super dark, and there's enough contrast. So now I'm going in with this neon violet, which is the most amazing color. When right now it looks kind of like light purple, but when it dries, it is going to be the most beautiful electric purple that you've ever seen. Then after that, I go in with Phthalo Blue, and then after that, I go in with a Pearl Royal Blue by Arteza, and the Phthalo Blue is Liquid Basics. Now, after that, I'm gonna go ahead and put in the piggy. So in the piggy, I'm putting in 2 teaspoons, which basically equals 1 tablespoon. I wanted to keep all paints to be 1 tablespoon. I didn't have enough tablespoons for all the cups, so that's why I decided to go for the piggies. I wanted to use the teaspoons, so I hope that makes sense. Now I'm going to go back with Liquid Basics Titanium White, and the reason why I'm doing that is because when I layer the cup, I want to layer the white first and then have that be sort of like the platform for the piggy, so that way it has something to stand on, because a piggy will dry pretty transparent. So now that I have a white layer between the piggy, then I can go in with a darker color. So I'm going in with a Carmine by Amsterdam, which is a beautiful red, and then I'm going in with a Pearl Pink by Arteza, and it's super shiny, so this should dry really beautiful as well. And then I'm going to go in with Amethyst, which is a metallic by Deco Art, and then after that we're going to go in with the Pearl Purple by Arteza, which is another super shimmery paint. Arteza's paints are really beautiful, so you can't go wrong. Now I'm going in with Bronze, which is a Deco Art metallic, and now I'm going in with Phthalo Blue, which is Liquid Basics, and then towards the end I'm basically running out of Phthalo Blue, so I really have to kind of scrape my cup to have enough for all the cups here. Then after this one, we're going to go in once again with the Pearl Royal Blue by Arteza. And these pearl colors by Arteza are super beautiful when they're wet, but then also when they dry, they're so shimmery. They're also very transparent, so you want to have an opaque between some of those layers. Now, the last thing that we're going to be putting in our cup is actually the piggy, and once again we're putting in 2 teaspoons of the piggy to try to make sure that there's like similar or the same amount of paint as there is piggy. So hindsight, if I had to do this again, or when I do this again, I am going to have at least 3 layers of piggy, so that way it's a little more prominent. Now let's get to the layering. So I wanted to keep the pour the same, so on all the different piggies we're going to be using them in a wandering ring pour and into a gold runway. And so the runway, actually I tilted it off so that's not just like a really thin runway, so that it gives me enough paint to be able to tilt my composition back and forth and not lose too much of it. I realized that for a 10 by 20 I need between 7 and 8 ounces, and unfortunately instead of getting the 9-ounce cup, I got the 7-ounce cup, which means I need a little bit more paint. So as you saw, I had to add a little bit more of this light green, pearl light green by Arteza, and that's just the paint that I had left over that I didn't actually use in the pour. So again, this is just to help me, more like an extender versus having it be part of the pour. So by doing the ring pour, it allows me to put the paints down and then have something go over it. You'll see that it like for example, where there's like the red and the blue on the other side, it almost looks like it's like a braided pour, and I don't know, it just makes it really interesting. So I think all these different pouring techniques, you can modify them a little bit to give you more interesting combinations and so forth. I also wanted to just note that this first pour, which is the Drunken Piggy, it feels really wet. It feels runny, and almost feels like there's too much paint on the canvas. And obviously, we just had enough paint to cover the canvas. So I think that's just the alcohol. It hasn't had enough time for the alcohol part to evaporate, so there's still a lot of liquid in here, and I suspect that's why it feels so runny. And then also it gave me these really huge, they look like cells, and some of them are cells, but then there's like up here, they don't look like cells much. It just looks like almost like a swipe, and obviously I didn't swipe here, but it's probably having to do with how I stretch the canvas and the fact that the alcohol thinned out the piggy. Maybe that did anything, but we'll know more once we actually see it dry. And so we'll see how this goes. Now here, so what I do usually is when I finish pouring and finish tilting the painting, I try to videotape it where I finished tilting, to take you in for a close-up. Most of the time I try to do that. There are some times when I take the piece over to the drying rack, or if I'm going to be drying it on the floor, because I have too many things on the drying rack, then I may do it there. But so like I said, usually I'll try to do it, and that's what I was doing earlier. Now here is what I was videotaping, and you saw earlier. It's just basically taking me for a close-up. As you can see, it is the paints and in the pour minging are super shiny. And then now I bring you in for a deeper close-up, and you'll see how shimmering these paints are. So again, that's having to do with the Arteza paints, but then also the Piggy is super shimmery as well, so that adds to the shimmer. And here, everywhere you see green, that's the Piggy. So like, you know, in little tiny areas you'll see the Piggy doing its thing, and you'll see it there. It's so beautiful. Now here is the dry piece. Here is the area that is concerning, and out of all the rest of the pour, that's the only one that's really concerning. And I think it's might be because it was so concentrated there. The when it dried, the alcohol probably evaporated, and the piggy was there wasn't enough pigment of the piggy to stay together. So anyway, super beautiful. It dried magnificently. Well, thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and look for part 3 of the experiment, which will be the Hipster Piggy, which is the Mod Podge as the solvent of the piggy, and you won't be disappointed. All of these are just stunning pours. See you at the next one. Thanks so much.